Hello and welcome to the video. This is a redo of a video from a while ago. This is about the RSSI trick, a way that you can use your radio with the telemetry coming back from the powered receiver on the model that you've just lost to go and find it. Now the reason I'm remaking this is I've had a couple of Patreons recently get in touch where they've lost a model and potentially they could have recovered that if they'd have remembered this trick. And it's one of those things, the way that the YouTube algorithm works, because that video is a little bit older, there's a very good chance that if you haven't seen it in the past couple of years, it's not going to be recommended to you. So I'm covering it again, particularly for those of you that might be flying in the Northern Hemisphere in winter conditions and maybe you push a battery a little bit too hard and the model starts to lose altitude, comes down, and you start to panic. It's always horrible when that happens. And the other reason that I'm making this is that last month in November, I was flying with a buddy of mine. He had a little bit of a problem with the plane and it ended up 3/4 of a mile away. And we went and found the plane and recovered it. And that was the little reminder to say, you know what, let's actually share this again so that if it's in your mind and you remember it next time you're out, and if this does happen to you, then you've got a chance of getting the model back. Now there's a lot of things you can do to improve the chances of getting a model back if you're unlucky enough to have it fly away. First and foremost, of course, is to put your name and address on it or your phone number. Then if somebody finds it, they can get it back to you. Obviously, for those who are registered with the kind of systems in the UK or with others, you're going to have your pilot ID on there as well. But putting something like your name and a phone number on your model gives you an excellent chance of getting it back if someone finds it in the middle of a field. DVR recordings in your goggles are your best friend. Get into the habit of always having the DVR, if you're flying FPV, recording so that you can play it back. What typically tends to happen, and happened to my friend in November, when the plane starts to get out of range and the FPV stuff is breaking up and all the flapping starts, then it's very easy to forget what the last images were in the camera before the FPV feed gives up the ghost. So you have a rough idea, if you knew what it was looking at as you lost the feed, the kind of direction it was going into. If you have a DVR, then you can play that back and you can have a good idea of which part of that field or that bit of forest it's going over when it disappeared, and that'll give you a direction that it's best to go into to find the plane. Obviously, if you have things like a fab radio like this and using things like iNav, or maybe one of the connected FreeSky receivers that has GPS attached, you can get the telemetry back to the radio. If you have something like iNav, it's going to be sending the GPS latitude and longitude back to your radio. If you have a FreeSky SmartPort GPS, it'll be doing the same thing. When you're flying in conditions, it's not a bad idea to turn the log files on. Again, check out my videos on the different radios on how you do that. Having it logging to the SD card, again, lets you find it out. If you get the GPS latitude and longitude on the radio, then it's dead easy because you just plug those numbers into your phone that's in your back pocket and it will show you exactly where it is. So having telemetry from things like iNav on a model or Betaflight is invaluable if you do lose one. And then there's things that you can do outside of the stuff with either sensors or iNav or Betaflight, and that is either add something like a GPS locator tag, very worthwhile doing if it's a particularly expensive model or camera setup that you've gotten there. Usually it has a SIM card in it. You can kind of text the SIM card and it will actually send you back the latitude and longitude to your phone, and again you can just plug it in. Not super easy and simple setup, and you have to kind of have the SIM activated and all that stuff, but for expensive models it's worth it. And the other thing is things like the Wi-Fi finder, those kind of things that have a battery backup that will make a noise and also flash, are really handy as well. Once you get within a reasonable distance of a model, you will hear the beeper and it can take you straight to it. It's easier as a human being, so long as you have both your ears working. With that stereo stuff, we're very, very good at kind of figuring out which direction something like a beeping noise is coming from, and it can get you straight on the model. Now, as I said, this only works if you have the receiver powered because it needs to be sending the telemetry back to your radio, and even on the ground it's going to work. The recovery that I've just talked about with my friend that was 3/4 of a mile away actually ended up in a ditch, and we were still getting a signal from it a good half a mile away. It wasn't brilliant, it was doing the telemetry lost, telemetry recovered spiel all the time, but it did mean that we had a rough idea that it was in the general area and we could use this trick to find it. If you have a GPS attached, then it makes it dead easy. Once you're within about half a mile, even if it's on the ground, you should get some kind of telemetry back. If you get your GPS latitude and longitude, then you know what, you can kind of stop right there. You can kind of put that into your phone and then just walk to whichever part of the countryside your plane has ended up in. But if you don't have those GPS coordinates and it's still powered and it's sending telemetry back to the radio and RSSI, then you can use this trick, and it saved my bacon and my friend's bacon an awful lot of time. We'd probably be down 5 or 6 models over the past 7 or 8 years of flying if we hadn't been able to use this trick to find it. So how does it work? Well, it relies on the fact that the antenna that's on the top of your radio, it's that kind of rubber ducky style one, ignore the one at the back, that's the crossfire one, the rubber ducky one at the top is less sensitive at the ends and more sensitive out each side. So what you need to do is you need to lay the antenna down onto your radio and then go into the telemetry screen so you can see the RSSI coming back from the receiver. It might be 0 if you've completely lost connection, but that's fine. That means that when you get a first connection, you just want to be able to see the numbers as you're walking around. What you need to do is hold the radio against yourself, and that's going to block the radio signal coming from behind you, and you're going to turn around in a big circle. And what that will do is you're kind of watching the numbers increase, and wherever is the strongest signal, whichever direction it is, that is the direction that the plane is going to be in. So typically when you start off, if it's over about half a mile away and come down, if it's the other side of something like a solid object, it makes it a little bit trickier because the signal doesn't penetrate as well. But the first thing to do is to set off in the direction that the model was going when you lost contact, keeping the radio with you at all times, waiting for the magic sound of telemetry recovered, which means that the radio can now hear the telemetry coming back from the receiver. At that point, then you need to rotate around. Again, as I've just demonstrated, hold it into your chest and rotate around. Don't go too quickly. The update isn't really quick on the radio. You might need to do it a couple of times in order to get a rough idea of where the strongest signal is. Once you've got that, set off in that direction. I'd go about 100 yards, 150 yards tops, and then repeat the process. And what you should find is as you go in the direction of the strongest signal, you should see the value of the RSSI in dB increase. Keep doing that until you eventually find the model. You will find that once you get over about 80 dB, you're probably going to be close enough to operate the servos and hear them grinding away on the model, and you'll be able to use your ears to find it really quickly. If you have walked past the model and you find that the maximum RSSI is now swinging around to your left and right or behind you, then it means that you've walked past it. A trick that I tend to use is I will kind of get one bearing from one corner of the field, walk to the other corner of the field and get another bearing, and where those two lines cross is going to be roughly where the model is, and I kind of head out into the field using the RSSI trick just to count up. And again, using this process, I've personally recovered probably about 5 or 6 of my friends' planes in flying over the past 5 or 6 years, and saved quite a lot of money in flight controllers, batteries and everything else, as well as just the embarrassment of losing a model that you've spent a lot of time setting up. Last point on this, as I said, over 80 dB is a really good value. It means you're getting extremely close. Usually the antennas on the ground, the radio waves from the model aren't going to penetrate things like solid brick walls. So you might find that as you're walking around, as you go behind trees and things like that, the signal will drop. And that's usually a good hint that the model is on the opposite side, some distance away usually from that particular tree. And once you're over about 80 dB, it means you're going to be pretty close. If you have a beeper activating it, you'll be able to hear it. If you have servos on the model, activate the servos, you should be able to hear them, quick, 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 those kind of servo noises. Apologies for that terrible impression. Here's some rough ideas. Once you've done this a couple of times, and it might be worthwhile next time you're out, just as a practice, maybe put one of the models out in the field somewhere and just have a go and figure out how to do it with the radio. And then when you have to do it in anger, because usually at that point as a pilot you are flapping a little bit, you'll have at least done it once and it won't be the very first time you've tried it. About less than 20 dB, it's going to be about 800 yards away or more. You'll typically get very temporary connection, but as soon as you get telemetry recovered, you know that the model is still around somewhere, probably within about 800 to 1,000 yards around you, depending on how the model's sat on the ground. Over 40 dB is going to be about 350 to 400 yards away. Over 60 dB, you're getting really close, so sub 200 yards. With a loud beeper, you'd probably hear it. Over 80 dB, that means that you're going to be, I would say, probably 70, 60, maybe 50 yards away, and you should definitely hear it if you operate the controls of the model. And hopefully that will help those of you remember this next time it happens to you. And it's a great way to get your model back. Again, if the battery is unplugged, there's loads of other things I talked about at the beginning that can give you an extra chance of finding the model. But if it's just a powered wing or something like that, and something weird happens and it floats into the ground, particularly if it's got iNav in it, iNav very good at flying straight and level and just, coasting it into the middle of a field, this will give you a very good chance of getting it back. But again, if you've got the GPS coordinates coming back from your model, then as soon as you get those GPS coordinates, even at very low RSSI values, just make a note of those, and then that's the easiest thing to do. You can just use your phone and find your plane. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists, and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning, and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.